Good morning, happy Saturday by the time you see this. Happy afternoon, no, good afternoon. I hope you're all well, I hope you're all staying sane in lockdown. I hope everyone's healthy. I hope that you're all still singing, dancing, acting around the space. I just hope you're all staying happy and okay. I thought today we would work on breathing and breath within songs, because when we were in physical lessons, that was something that I tried to work on with you a lot, especially in A Million Dreams, Come Alive, and for the younger group, Don't Hurt Me. So it's something definitely that I want to really try and work on with you to make every note as powerful as the other, even if it's quieter. I've got my notes here. So breath is ultimately the fuel for singing. Ultimately it is the fuel. So the tone that we produce when we sing, it like rests on like a cushion of air, and so that breath is the fuel for the sound that we produce. Yeah, so whenever we take a breath, that's like a new release of life, if you like, for the sound, for that to work. So the upper airways up here needs to be open and relaxed. I actually have some pictures to show you. Let me see if I can show you now. So here is your upper airways. So it's like the arrows indicate the flow of air through the nose and mouth. So on this, all of this needs to just be relaxed, yeah? Because if it's not relaxed, then you'll come out with some sounds that you never want to hear again. So breathing is a movement, ultimately, and the movement of air, the movement of muscles and organs, movement of energy, and a healthy voice means that there's a free movement of air and all of the muscles involved in breathing and free movement of the vocal folds. So it should mean that there's no strain, it should mean that there's no how do I describe it? So when you breathe, everything becomes relaxed. So there should be no lifting up with it, because then none of that is relaxed and it's too tense, which means that you accidentally rub your vocal cords against each other, and instead of the vibration sound, it'll create a really crunchy sound and also damage them, which is so bad. And that's where we get vocal nodules and all horrible vocal illnesses. So we have to be very, very careful and look after them and drink lots and lots of water. So what makes breathing for singing different from other breathing is simply the action of the rib cage. So your rib cage is here, if you didn't know. It's actually at the back and the front. And in normal breathing, the rib cage expands to bring in oxygen, and then they collapse and lower as the breath is used. But, so you probably already know that from school, but in singing, we want to create the feeling of like a firm support for the lungs, so that as we use the air, the rib cage does not collapse. So at no point when we breathe in should that go as we're singing. You should remain strong. So you should actually feel your core tightening, but it's actually your rib cage just being really supportive. So it's like non-violent resistance, if that makes sense. So you can't feel any pain, but it's just resistance, so that you keep your rib cage high and wide and not allowing the ribs to drop into the waistline. So you don't want to drop here and then that sound be crushed and all of the air be crushed, because it just won't work. So with singing, with breathing, it's a little bit easier because you can control the pace that you breathe at. So I can breathe like this, I can breathe like this, but a singer must learn to inhale quicker and exhale slower than in normal reflexive breathing. So in day-to-day life, we'll just inhale and exhale, but when you're singing, you need to take a quick breath and then release, quick breath, release. So it's really hard. You have to train it so that it doesn't become desperate for air. Yeah, so I thought we could try an exercise. All you'll need is a chair, which I'm hoping you have at your kitchen table, or even a sofa, but preferably not, preferably a chair with like a straight back. So I want you to sit on your chair with your feet flat, with your feet flat on the floor. And I want you to lean over and rest your arms on your legs. So just like this, and lean all the way over. And as you lean, I want you to try and feel your stomach and your back expand, okay? So I want your head and neck and body to be completely relaxed. So it won't work unless you're completely relaxed. And so we're not going to use the mouth at all. Just inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. But feel the way that your back and stomach expand as you gaining more air into your lower abdomen, yeah? And then as you exhale slowly, this time, once we've done it a few times with just your nose, exhale through your mouth and gently pull your tummy away from your thighs, okay? Because when you do that, you'll become you'll sink back in and it will let more air into your abdomen, okay? So let the chest stay relatively still. So when you stay down, you don't want to be like, just stay still as you're breathing, just completely still as you're breathing, because it's all just about the breath. You don't see singers on stage having to be like, yeah, they're all really quite controlled. Repeat this as many times as you like. I recommend 9 to 10 times, because I know that sounds like a lot, I know, but the first few times you'll be like, that's okay. But as you do it more and more, you'll feel just how important it actually is. Because the more you do it, I would sit a bit more upright. So because obviously when you sing, you don't actually sit like this, but I would start to do it more and more upright, and then feel it as you are actually in your like in the posture that we discussed in the video last week. Okay. So abdominal and muscle and breath support, while keeping the rib cage and wide. So think, this is actually really good, and I learned this at school. Think wide to the sides. Yeah, so wide to the sides. Do you get it? That's, you know, I love an analogy. We use the abdominal muscle for support. So as we sing, the diaphragm actually lifts. So think of your rib cage as an accordion, for example. So when you pull an accordion, it expands, and then you don't want to squeeze it back together. You want to keep expanding it, okay? So I actually want to run an exercise with you to develop strength in the breathing muscles, because I feel like learning all of this will be really good for when we learn quite a difficult song either next week or the week after. So this exercise, where's my notes? So I want you to begin with standing in a singer's posture, which is what we discussed in the previous video. If you haven't seen that, go and watch the warm-up video. And I want you to hold your chest high and wide to the sides. Inhale through the nose as you expand the rib cage and lungs to capacity. So as much air as you can get in. Try and get all of that in, okay? And I want you to release any tension in the chest or shoulder area. So any tension that's here, just breathe it all out and release it. Okay, and now exhale, but instead of breathing out, I want you to hiss. So I want you to go like, what's a good example? Like a snake, or air escaping from a tire. So, but I want you to do it really slowly as you count from 1 to 8. So I'm going to count to 8 now for you, but that's for you breathing in and then breathing out. So let's breathe in for 8. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hiss. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Slow that down as much as you can to see how long you can actually get the hissing sound to go for. I'd be really interested in knowing, actually, because I feel like you're all working really hard. But note that the danger with this exercise is tension, and you might overexert yourself. So what that means is you might tire yourself out if you try too much without little air. So it's easy to become tense in the ribcage when you're in your last few breaths, like really tensing, and you like trying to get the last bits out, but remain conscious, so remain aware of keeping free of all the tension, okay? And then one more exercise I want to do with you is this one. So inhale through your nose as you expand the rib cage and lungs again, yeah, just as we just did. And to let the breath out, count aloud extremely slowly from 1 to 6. I want like 1, 2, 3, like really slowly. And then I want as much openness and like tone as I can. So I really want like 1, 2, like really, really wide. But then your full breath should be used when you finish speaking the number 6. So you should really do it as slow as you can to try and get 6 to be your last air. But please do not push too hard and strain your voice, because that is really dangerous. So just to recap on today's little session, it's only a small one, but I just think it's really important to understand breathing, how to open and close, because it will really, really, really help you when we go back. So just to recap, the shoulders and upper chest should rise as air comes. It shouldn't rise as air comes into the lungs. So please do not rise. On that, we just want to stay really, really still, really, really, really strong. When you breathe in, it should be silent. There should be no. As I hear some of you doing sometimes, they're like, every night, like you're too tired. So just a every night, yeah, you get it? Perfect. So you must resist the urge to let the rib cage go up and down, so you don't want yeah. And so the more exercise whilst breathing, the more control you'll have over your voice. So really concentrate, really concentrate on your voice and your vocal procedures when you're singing. Really think about how much breath you're taking in and when you last took a breath. And so just some general considerations before we go is that, how would I describe it? Singers are like vocal athletes. Yeah, that's a really good way of describing it. So you must learn to be an expert breather. So as an athlete, it's really good at running or something else. You are an Olympic medalist in singing, okay? So you must really understand how to breathe properly. And so one only sings as well as one breathes. So I could sing as many words and they would sound rubbish if I didn't breathe properly. Like I could literally sing like this, but it was like rubbish. Yeah, like rubbish. But then when I take a breath, I can really concentrate. And so a musical phrase is like a spoken sentence. So I might do a session on this where we discuss where is like a good idea to breathe, and when it's good to continue through the phrase, because you don't want to break a phrase with a breath. You should also remember that too few planned breaks in the song. So if you don't plan enough breaks, it can cause the music to lose its energy and the sound will sound strained because you haven't planned enough breaths. So you're not taking enough breaths and you're in the last of your breath as you're singing and everyone's like, what? Yeah. And so too many breaths makes the music sound choppy and difficult for the listener to follow. So when people are listening, you don't want to breathe every other sentence because it sounds like this and you're like panicking for them. It's really important that we learn to breathe properly in order for our singing to move forwards and for also it to sound more fun. Breath can also control the format of the song. So if you're running, you'll take your breaths as you're running through the song, or if you're like in a nice poetic ballad, for example, the breaths would be really short and like the inhaling quickly and exhaling slowly, just to try and get that power. Yeah, so I would really like it if you could have a go at these exercises for me, and then next week we might learn a quite big tough song, but I might leave that for the week after. I haven't decided. But have a really lovely week, and it's really good to see you guys again, and I can't wait to speak to you guys soon. I miss you all. So lots of love to all of you. Bye.